I'm Patty with StudioR12 Stencils, and today we're going to trust the process and paint a dreamy background. First thing we need to do is we need to base our background. I'm going to use number 42. It is dark mossy green. And so when you start with the dreamy slip-slap background, it's called slip-slap because you do a little patting, slapping kind of motion. You slip, then you slap. So that's why it's called that. But to do our base coat, we're going to go ahead and do one coat of thin green, and then we're going to come back with our next coat and have it be a heavy coat. And as long as we've got coverage, then we'll go directly into our slip-slapping. It did take me two thin coats to get it based. If you have background texture showing, it's going to show in your final fade and everything, so you don't want your background texture to show unless it's what you're after. So now I'm going to put a thicker coat of my base on here, and I might even go ahead and pick up a little bit of water. You got to keep it wet. That's the rule of the game. And so I've got a misting bottle, so as I'm basing, I can go ahead and keep it just a little bit wet. It doesn't need to be solid or like you're not trying to base coat, you're just trying to lay down a foundation of this color so that it can blend into the other colors we're going to put on top. I'll show you in a minute. If you like content like this, make sure that you like and subscribe and ring the bell. Okay, so I want that smooth, and then I want to keep it moist, not sopping wet. And then we're going to go into number 82, and we're going to apply, while it's all wet, some of number 82. And we'll start right in the middle, and I'll just start moving it around, just mixing it in with that color. This brush is an oval glaze. It has a shape that is oval that way, and it's tapered that way. So it's going to do a really good job of slip slapping and blending. I'm going to wipe off my brush on both sides, and now I'm going to start fading. And so I'm going in little X's. As I get to my edge, I don't want this to grow all the way out, so as I get to my edge, then I will turn the board, I will wipe off the brush, give it a mist. You can start feeling it pulling. If it gets too wet, this will carry all the way out to your edges. So I have a dirty brush, but it doesn't have a lot of paint in it. So now we'll fade it back, get some wet going here. So now my pressure is lifting up so that I don't have a lot of pressure. And now I'm strongly wiping my brush out. You could make movement go on. You can make it, in one of the Halloween projects that I've done this with, I made it move along so you can decide how you like that. When we get to where we like the blend, it's getting to be about that point, I have some options to do, use my number jumbo dome brush after it's dry, and I can fade out anything that I don't love. So I've got some room to wiggle with this. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna rinse this brush out. Get a new paper towel. Mist. And now we go into number 5. And this one we're gonna start at the edges. And we're gonna lay down some paint. And then you're gonna start fading that into the center. You don't want to get that black on top of that, or not black, I guess it's a black green. You don't want to get that on top of that color, so you want it to fade to the 3 colors. Then as I get near the middle, wipe out the brush, fade the black. Getting precariously close to being dry. Now I need to tip so that I can get rid of the water and see what I've actually got going on. Blend it in. Okay, and then another step that you can do if you happen to have one is you can go in with your mop and you can beat out your colors just a little bit. And you're going to lose hairs, don't pull them out till it's dry. So with your mop, you want to start where the color is the strongest. These are really cheap brushes, so you should have one mop in your collection. I think we have them on our website. That's StudioR12.com. So see how that's just evening things out. And then that little bit of paint that I have on my brush is walking into the next area and softening my fade. And I won't go into the black with this because black is more forgiving. Okay, don't dig a hole. If you keep messing with it while it is wet, you can get paint to attach to your brush, and that makes a hole. It'll grab it right off of there, and it's really hard to patch holes, although we have videos on how to do that. Okay, now we get it all the way dry, and I'll show you how to smooth things out. So if the middle needed to be brightened up just a little bit, you could go into your number 82 and then dry out. And when I say offload, I mean offload. So dry out so that you barely are dusty. You do not want to set this down like you're stenciling. You want this to be a dry rub is what I call this. So you want barely anything. So we can go with just the lightest, softest pressure. And you can rub right in the middle and be like, I want that just a little bit brighter. You could go in a circle. You could do lines. You could slip slap. The thing to do is to build it up slowly. The other thing that you can do is over here. So I have a little bit of a irregularity over here. So I can go over here. As I know that I don't have paint on my brush anymore, I can push a little harder, and that's going to give me the fadiest fade. I could also go and pick some up from my offload. Yeah, that's really strong right there. And then bring it back out here. Need a great big brush like this. These are available only on StudioR12.com. We had this made for all of these techniques that we throw at you. Make sure you check out our playlist on YouTube because we have a lot going on. You will learn everything there is to know about DIY stenciling and painting. So I'm kind of nitpicking right now. It doesn't need to be any more than it is, but just showing how you can achieve a little bit of extra. I'm going to put this brush in the water and get out another one. And then we're going to go into our black green. And this one I don't have to be so picky about. And I was very nonchalant in my blending over here because I can start off strong and then I can just fade that straight in with less pressure and then soften. I hope you can see that on camera because that made a big impact right there. So start off strong in the corner and then wave like a windshield wiper, softening the pressure. This one's a little bit more blended, so I won't need as much there. The best thing to do with this technique is to get a couple of old boards and practice. The stencil that I've chosen to go on this is Trust the Process, and I feel like that's completely appropriate. Okay, I'm going to call that done, and then we're going to dry it and do the stencil. Okay, I think I'm on there straight. I use my T-square just to measure all the way around to get it straight in the middle. I am going to tape on the top and the bottom. This is my wetter areas. Even if I've thoroughly dried it, it might still be tacky, and I'm just going to push that little tape down. I don't want to lift. I've got like 3 coats of paint on here. That's fresh within 20 minutes. So I don't want to lift that up. I think I'm going to go ahead and use number 82 to stencil the stuff with. We're going to use a dry dome brush. Dome brushes are the best for not bleeding under. So make sure that you always use dome brushes when you're stenciling. We're going to use dry paint, meaning there's no water. Dry paper towel, offload 10-15 times. If you're heavy-handed, do 15. If you're light-handed, do 5. Okay, and then our pressure is going to be super soft. I'm not going to be pushing those bristles. I'm just going to be scrubbing on the stencil with the paint. I'm also going to hold the stencil down a little bit, just in case I didn't tack off or I didn't tack on my tape hard enough. So I will hold it as well. Okay, and we can peek. And I think we're going to do a highlight on this word right here. So we'll go with white. I'm using a dirty brush. Pick it up one more time. That's my neutralizing step, and then this is my highlight step. Okay, let's take a peek. Yeah, maybe that gets it too. I like it. Okay, so next, what we want to do is get a spattering brush. So this is our White Wonder, and it is a oval brush as well. It's also shaved, and then it's whatever they call it when they thin your hair. It's also been thinned on the tip so that it will make like little scratchy marks. So it's a great dry brush to make like textures. But in this case, we're going to use it to spatter. So I'm going to get it very wet, and then I'm going to get this dark black green. A little bit more water, heavy handle brush, tap off over here. Spatters go everywhere, so be careful with them. They'll get your purse, your shoes, your clothing, your glasses. And so I'm going to just spatter all the way around the area. Okay, now one thing that we do need to do when we spatter and turn, put it on a towel. When you put it on a towel, it allows you to turn your project without messing up the back. Okay, so this is just an old Dollar Tree towel. And then you off spatter every time you load. And this just adds just a little something, something. Pick up more water if your spatters get tiny. If you have a lot of paint, spatters are fat. If you have a little bit of paint or a little bit of water, your spatters will be really tiny and fine. So sometimes you want tiny and fine. And I think I am going to pull out black. Just in the corner areas. And now the debate for me in my head is, do I do the middle? And I think I am, but not very fat. So I'm going to do a dry spatter and maybe just on those, just on this little edge right here. So I'm barely tapping. Okay, spatters take a really long time to dry, so make sure that you hit them with a blow dryer longer than you think, because they're just like a ball of floating water, and then you will be ready to put your finish on. I hope that you guys had so much fun with this lesson. Dreamy backgrounds are so much fun. If you like this video and this content, make sure that you give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.